Keeping your business healthy in today's marketplace can be a challenging and overwhelming task. From the threat of litigation inside and outside your organization and the inefficiencies that can rob your bottom line as a result of unproven marketing programs, the deck can be stacked against you. To get ahead of these challenges and stay ahead of your competition, the Bottled Business Sense Show provides practical business solutions that uniquely emphasize key legal principles, management techniques, and marketing strategies to protect and ensure the longevity of your business. You'll learn how to implement marketing and protection principles equal to those used by today's most successful corporations. Join your hosts Bill Bernard, Rick Moscoso, and Steve Smith for some high-energy discussion that will inspire you to take control of your business so it can prosper in today's consistently challenging business environment.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bottled Business Sense Show. I'm Steve Smith, one of the co-hosts, and you're watching the show, which airs every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And whether you're watching it via Google Hangouts or you're listening to it via Blog Talk Radio, we simulcast these shows every week. So depending on where you are, you won't miss the Bottled Business Sense Show. So we're glad to have you with us today. Before we get into the topic that we're going to be talking about, let me bring on my two noteworthy co-hosts who always add a lot of color and value to these shows, Bill Bernard and Rick Moscoso. Guys, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Steve, Rick. Just trying to get through this new binge of hot weather we're having every, tell you, boy, they say there's no climate change, but here we are in mid-October, and it's hot and humid, and I'm kind of looking forward to the cooler weather coming up. I don't know about you guys, but I'm certainly am.
Well, I thought we had gotten into fall, but evidently that's not correct.
No, not at all. I know. I'm actually ready for it to snow.
Well, you're in the wrong place, my friend.
You need to move, Rick.
Yeah, let's not go overboard.
Yeah,
we don't want it to snow. We just want it to cool off a little bit. But looking forward to the show today, Steve.
Cool. Well, let's jump right into it then. For people who are watching or listening for the first time, just to give you a quick rundown of how we do this, our show really focuses on two primary areas. Protecting your business, which is where Bill's legal expertise comes into play, and promoting your business so you can grow it is where Rick and my business kind of comes into play. So Rick does video marketing. I do business coaching. So between us and Bill, we kind of cover the gamut on what it takes to grow and protect as you're going along, so you can prosper in the business you have. So each week we bring a specific topic that hits one of these particular areas. This week, we're going to be talking about one of the online marketing tools that a lot of businesses use. Everybody knows it because most everybody's either used it or left a review on it, and it's the website called Yelp. And Yelp has gotten huge in terms of review potential for people looking for good places to go, reputable places, reputable contractors or other services to take advantage of. And it's also a place where people go and actually leave their opinions in the form of reviews about the experience they've had. And what we're going to talk about today is a recent bill that Governor Jerry Brown has enacted, which kind of curtails some of the shenanigans that have been going on up until this point with businesses trying to protect themselves against negative reviews. And we're going to let Bill explain that a little more before we kind of get into the Q&A. So, Bill, why don't we start off by doing this? Just give us a quick snapshot of what this bill actually is.
Well, for many years, Stephen, by the way, it was a great introduction. I couldn't have said it better myself. But businesses have been getting offensive with many bad reviews that have been posted about our entrepreneurs out there. And this has been going on now, of course, since the age of computers and websites and all kinds of tools that people use to critique other businesses. And so what many businesses have done is institute this agreement called the disparagement agreement, which they have their customers or their other businesses that they might do business with sign. And essentially these disparagement agreements have been a way to try to fight all of these negative reviews that we see posted online from time to time. And basically it says, if you're going to do business with me, you agree not to disparage my business should something not come up to par as you may have anticipated when you entered into a business contract with me and my business. So these non-disparagement agreements became so prevalent that they started to, in the legislature's mind, infringe upon people's rights to post their opinions, their First Amendment right to voice opinions. And so that's what led to Jerry Brown signing this bill, which we'll get into as we move along here today.
Okay, so let's break this down for the average viewer, listener, who doesn't nearly have the depth of legal knowledge that you do, and really talk about exactly what this means. So as an example, let's say I am a business, all right? So I find, let's say I find an SEO company to help me improve my website positioning when people are searching for, business coach or business help or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I pay them amount of money and I work with them a period of time, and I don't really get the results I'm looking for, and I don't feel like I've been treated, professionally. So I go online and I write a review based on my experience, based on what I saw happening, and it's not favorable. Maybe it's a 1 or 2 star kind of review. Are you saying that this bill that Jerry signed allows me to do that or prevents me from doing that?
No, it allows you to go ahead and do that because businesses have been attempting to fight this type of negative disparagement of their business. And here's what I mean a little more specifically. We all know, especially, I'm glad you mentioned the 5-star review. Person can go on there and put 2 stars on, right? Or 3 stars, or 1 star, or 5 stars. We don't really know many times what exactly that means. In other words, we know 1 star is bad, 5 stars good, but what does it really mean? What's the substance of what you're trying to say? It really is many times unfair to a business. An example I like to give is you go into a restaurant and you try some food and maybe it's not up to par to what you think it should be, and the guy sitting next to you thinks it's the best clam chowder he's ever had. Right. Well, you may post a star 1, he may post a star 5. And so it not only affected the business in question, but also their attempts to market their business, which the governor, I believe, thought was a real economic setback for the business because it not only affected their marketing efforts, but their ability to draw in customers based on these very innocuous reviews that really didn't have much substance to them. So let's take away the disparagement agreements that I spoke about earlier, where businesses were trying to fight this type of negative review by having people sign agreements not to disparage them. Think of it this way. There is that effort out there by consumers to write negative and positive reviews, and now the question became one very simple for the legislature and the governor. Is this something, period, end of story, that's allowable for people to do? And the legislature and the governor said, we're not going to prevent this type of activity because it infringes upon or comes close to infringing upon a person's right to free speech and to provide an opinion about the services or products he or she obtains. And so penalties have been enacted pursuant to statute ranging anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 if you attempt to buy off people by getting them to not post a negative review about your business by way of entering some type of an agreement not to do so. So it's become a very big issue, not only for the consumer, but for our entrepreneurs that listen to this show. They're concerned, and rightfully so, that imagine if somebody posted a negative review about Growth Source Coaching or R2 Visual Studios. That's something that I'm sure would be a great concern to you. How do you fight back?
Right. Well, I guess that's you run the risk of that if you're putting yourself out there to for reviews. But let me ask you this: so, who is it? At what point were they initiating this agreement? Is it Yelp that's doing it, or is it the business owner to the person that's leaving the review? And then, if that's the case on Yelp, then how does that happen?
No, the business owner who enters into another transaction, a contractual arrangement with another consumer or with another business, will attempt up front to fight off these bad reviews by saying, I'd like you to sign this agreement saying that you're going to do business with me over the long haul. And in doing so, you agree as part of doing business with me that you will not disparage my business.
Okay.
In other words,
let me just jump in a minute, because I think we need to clarify something here. There are certain businesses out there that, by virtue of what they offer, Bill, you're in a good example of this. You have a law firm. You offer legal advice and contract preparation and corporate structuring for other businesses, for which you might work with a business for some protracted period of time. Mm-hmm. And so the very nature of that working relationship lends itself to coming up with an agreement in advance. There are a lot of businesses out there, however, that have no such preordained arrangement. Somebody goes online and sees that, Joe Blow's got a printing shop downtown, and for the next 2 weeks he's offering a special on business cards. They call him up or they go visit unannounced. That person never really was in a position to be able to issue some kind of a contract like this anyway, right?
Right. There's going to be instances where you're going to have negative reviews posted where there's not going to be any kind of contractual arrangement. The point I was simply making here at the onset of the show is that we have a lot of businesses that do contractual work or enter into contractual arrangements with other businesses. For example, a business may have a supplier that supplies them with goods. Or they may have some sort of service that they provide, like I provide my clients a retainer agreement. I could very easily put in a disparagement provision in my retainer that says, if you're not satisfied with my services, you will not critique it or disparage my services online. So those are the types of businesses and arrangements we're talking about. Not to say that the consumer that you're just speaking about doesn't also have a negative effect on a business when they write a bad review, Steve. But we're really getting down to the basics here by way of the governor and the legislature in California saying that no matter which of those two circumstances occur, the consumer has a right to do this, and that's going to affect our entrepreneurs.
I think it will, but I also think if you look at the practicality of this, that in an ongoing business relationship, not that it's going to be 100%, but Rick, you're in the same boat. You've got a video marketing business. If somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want you to create a series of 5 or 6 videos for me," that's not something you're going to do in a weekend. That may take several months, may take 3, 4, 6 months to complete that. So you're going to have an ongoing back and forth relationship with that client. So all three of us are in that kind of protracted relationship scenario.
Exactly.
You would hope that if a client was not satisfied, that the relationship would be well developed enough or strong enough to where they would come back to you and talk about it and find a way to work it out, as opposed to thinking that the only recourse was to go online, Google Plus or Yelp or lawyers.com or any of these other review sites and trash you on the internet. I mean, to me, that seems like if that's happening, your relationship with that client is already dead.
Well, but that's not human nature in all candor, Steve. I understand what you're saying. To take your example about Rick, he has this long-term relationship with somebody he does videos with over the course of time. It would be very natural for him to want to enter into a disparagement agreement with that person. I would even recommend it before this bill passed. But remember, you've got people when you least expect it. Many businesses will go online and find negative reviews about themselves, about their businesses. They had no idea. It's like being shot in the head. They had no idea it was coming. They never saw it coming. But people will do these things, outrageous things. Not to say some criticisms aren't justified, but people will many times just take out their unhappiness on your business with no forewarning. A good example would be my law practice. For many years, for 30 years, I have not had one single complaint lodged with the state bar against me. I'm very proud of that. Not so much because I know I've never done anything unethical, but rather because it's so easy for a person who's frustrated to get on there and lodge that complaint. And once it's lodged, that black mark is there. And then you have the uphill battle, just like our entrepreneurs do, to erase that black mark and say, hey, wait a minute, this really isn't justified. And so this has become a real cause for concern for businesses. And really, they have one way only to fight back, and that is to make sure they go online and post a response to whatever negative review they get. And you can see some recent court opinions have upheld in other states and in the federal court the bill that Jerry Brown has signed. In Nevada, there was $300,000 in damages awarded to an individual who complained about a business, and the business tried to get him to sign a disparagement agreement. He was awarded $300,000 by a court who said you can't do that. And the Ninth Circuit in California, which covers the western states, also said that not only can we not uphold these disparagement agreements, but Yelp and places like Yelp have the right to go to charge you a fee if you want your positive reviews, not your negative, but your positive reviews posted on Yelp. They have a right to charge you a fee.
Right.
So this is disturbing to me as a lawyer who fights for entrepreneurs. While I recognize the free speech element, it has become a disturbing factor in the age of the computer age, because we're basically and every day we expose ourselves to these potential reviews that may have no merit whatsoever.
All right, let me, Rick, I want to bring you in on this for a minute, but Bill, with your permission, I'd like to just change the conversation we're having right now and focus on what a business can do to remediate or to somehow protect or rise above a negative review that they've been given. So, Rick, here's my question to you. Every once in a while, I see things on the internet that have to do with, XYZ business is a scam. And so that kind of a title just, arouses people. They want to read the details. And when you click on that, you get this page where somebody, usually a third party, is talking about XYZ business, but they're talking about all the things that people have said about them and why they aren't true. So it's kind of a reversal of, trying to make the business seem like it's more, it's more legitimate, more trustworthy than some of the reviews have been gotten. Is that kind of thing effective? And if not, from your standpoint, are there ways that people can use video within the review process to reply and maybe make a statement that, of what they've done and who they are as a business?
Well, yeah, I mean, we frequently see this, especially with, and nothing against this industry, but in the multi-level market industry, we see a lot of this going on, right? Where you have somebody who was involved for a very short amount of time, was expecting high returns, and, they turn around and say it's a scam. Are there things that you can do in the front end? Yeah, absolutely. And that's, in that process, you can address any of these concerns that you can foresee that may come up in a good marketing video, in a good anchor video, and kind of beat them to the punch and put it out there. So then if somebody does come back to you, their bite is really isn't as fatal as it might have been if you didn't address it up front.
Well, Bill, one of the things you said just before we switched this topic was the fact that businesses need to leave a response. And I think that's critical because, quite honestly, if I go looking for specific businesses, whether it's something, a restaurant I want to go to with my wife or some other kind of service that I need and I don't know anybody, so I'm going out there to see who's available, I will read the reviews. And quite honestly, what I see as a traditional response to a negative review, a 1 or 2 star, with some content underneath, is I see the business owner trying to load up a bunch of 5 stars on top of it to kind of push it down the screen somewhat. Mm-hmm. And what I don't see them doing a lot of times is actually responding to that particular review.
That's right.
Rarely do I see that, and I think that's a mistake.
I agree with you. They have to be very, very focused on the particular review in question and address the issues, because when you start addressing it in generalities, you lose credibility. and the person reading that says, maybe the person who critiqued this business has something to say here, because this guy's really not addressing what occurred, but rather just trying to puff himself up as an overall generally good business. What I prefer to see is the poignant, to the point addressing of whatever critique was given, and then in addition to that, inviting people to go see a website or other places where clients or customers have posted positive reviews in order to get a better flavor of the overall business.
Now, to that point, and I know a lot of businesses that, like restaurants or other places where people come and, it's an experience thing they're looking for. For a while there, I was seeing businesses that would say, we have a coupon for you, maybe a free glass of wine next time you come, if you post a 5-star review for us, on Yelp or Google Plus or any of these other places they might be loaded. That's not legal, is it?
Well, let's put it this way. No one's going to really call you on that. If for example, along the same lines, I know a watchmaker that I take my watches in to have serviced, and he says, I'll give you a free seal, Steve, as long as you're not being forced to do that. In other words, you're not entitled to a free watch cleaning, and he's not entitled to a positive review.
Right.
But he's basically saying, if you feel compelled to give a positive review, I'll reward you for that. So it's really not blackmail or any kind of malfeasance. It's really a way to promote your business. In fact, flip the coin a bit. There's even people that will provide discounts to customers who provide a negative review in hopes that customer will then say, yeah, things weren't on the up and up between us. So there was a little bit of hanky-panky maybe going on in the start. We didn't hit it off right, but he made good for it by giving me a discount and making sure that he wanted to make sure that I would recommend the business in some way. There's really nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't make it contingent upon some monetary transaction. Look, you've got a right to offer a discount, and this person has a right to give a positive review. If he happens to give one, and then you decide in exchange for that you're going to give him a discount or you're going to give him a free service, there's really nothing that I would say that is wrong with that. I mean, you can do that. You just better be cautious, because if you do give that positive review and you give it only because you're going to get that free service, that's going to prevent you from going back at some other point in time and giving a review that's not so positive.
Yeah, I've had service by a company who does appliance repair, and I decided, well, let me just follow up and see what they're saying about him on Yelp, right? And I had already had service from him. It was a positive experience, and went on Yelp, and for the most part, everything was really good, 4 and 5 stars, and every once in a while there was 1 or 2 1 stars. But he did a really good job, like what you were suggesting, Stephen Bill, is that immediately after the negative comment was posted, he graciously apologized, and then left a comment in regards to the situation, that maybe the person that was leaving the comment didn't really know what was going on. And then in some cases, one of the cases I saw, there was an apology that was made. In another case, it just ended right there and there was nothing else that was said. But you're right. I mean, it does work effectively in this guy's case, where he was able to turn the opinion around because they didn't know the whole story.
And one last factor I think is important here. Who's the silent partner here that's making all the money? Yelp, right? No matter what happens between the business to business or consumer to business, Yelp's making the money. They're the middleman. What I would prefer to see, what I hold much more near and dear to my heart, is to find a review that's posted on a site that is offering the product or service. For example, or some sort of a traditional department store site where we're going to shop around and buy something, and then we look for the reviews on that particular product.
Right.
That's much more neutral and to the point because they're reviewing a product, not Best Buy itself. And so you're getting a much more objective flavor for what that product is going to be like.
Well, that's all right,
that kind of
Bill,
review.
the example that fits that what you just said is Amazon.
Right.
You go look for products on Amazon, and just about every individual product has some level of reviews that people have given it, and it's right there on the site that you're making the purchase from. So I think that is a great example. Yelp has, they've been called on the carpet over the years for some of their tactics and other things like that. But I mean, let's face it, they're offering a service. They're offering an opportunity for businesses to advertise. They're offering an opportunity for consumers to weigh in on how the experience went. And I think we need that. I think that's really important. I just think that regardless of how good a business is, at some point they're probably going to get hit by either a competitive review that's kind of disguised, or they're going to get hit by a disgruntled customer that wasn't having a good day and decided to take it out on that business. And how they respond to it, I think, holds as much weight as all these other creative tactics that that people get into to try to dismiss it or get rid of it.
Right. And before we close the show, here's my last little hot tip. I think personalized surveys or conversations with your customers, with other businesses that you do business with, are very important. If you get somebody to fill out very short and succinct, to the point, maybe like a 5 short question survey on what they felt the business transaction was like, now you've got ammunition to put in your file to show that these people mostly are going to, most people are not going to stand in front of you and fill out a negative review. So now you've got a review from this person you've done business with, and if they should go to one of these sites, you've got ammunition to, and they post on Yelp and it's inconsistent with what they've given you in your little survey. Now you've got ammunition to post and to fight back with, because many, many times they're going to give you, they post these things on Yelp after they've had time to reflect, after they've had time to get mad about something else that may have nothing to do with the business transaction, and then they go on these sites and they post these negative reviews. I find these reviews on these sites like Yelp to be very detrimental to our entrepreneurs and their businesses, and most oftentimes I don't find that they have the objectivity that's required to really analyze from a substantive standpoint whether the service or product they got was poor or good.
Rick, any final thoughts?
No, I think this is a great topic because I am not a particularly fond proponent of Yelp, because I have seen businesses get burned, and they seem to hold more control than you would like them to. So I mean, there's businesses that have been successful using it. I particularly wouldn't use it because it's not necessarily a place where I would refer testimonials from. I'm of the thought of doing testimonial videos versus the written word, so you can see the face and the name and hear the emotion behind it.
But remember this, guys, too. This is real important. You go to a place like Yelp, you have this preconceived notion that you're going there to really just give, number one, a very esoteric review with not much substance, and number two, 9 times out of 10 you're going there to complain. The reviews I like to see are the people that take the initiative, whether it's positive or negative. You really want to take the initiative to review somebody, go on their Google Plus page. Go someplace like that where you're going to post a review that is really going to have a hard and fast effect on their business. You'd be surprised at how all of a sudden people lose their nerves somewhat, because they want to be able to go to a place where they can essentially be, most of the times, anonymous and just leave these reviews and get their frustrations out.
Well, okay, and then I just, my own wrap up. I think number one, there's a lot of review sites out there. Yelp is one that's more well known, but every industry has its review sites, and there's a lot of places where people can exercise the same tactical opinions about things that they like, good and bad. The other thing I think that I get from this whole interaction today is businesses just need to be vigilant, and when they get a situation where they have a bad review, do something about it. Make a comment, reach out to the person if you know who it was, but go a reasonable distance to try to come to a solution that the person might even retract the review, or come back and say, hey, so and so really did a nice job of meeting my needs, and so they're not that bad. But I think that's right. that will really go much farther than just leaving them and hoping that a bunch of other reviews coming in will just kind of push it down below the viewing screen.
That's right. And always remember to take the high road, Steve. Don't reduce yourself to the level of the critique.
Right.
Like you said, go communicate and take the high road.
Okay, folks, hopefully you got some really good information out of the show today. As always, you'll be able to see this show, whether the video portion on thebottledbusinessshow.com, or you can go on to Blog Talk Radio and look at our page, and you can get the audio version of it there. So we thank you for joining us. Bill and Rick, thanks for your contribution today, and we will see you and offer the same kind of sage advice and opinions about how you can improve various parts of your business next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you to you, and have a prosperous week, everybody.
See you next week, guys.